Hello everyone and welcome to my Soap Twist 24 channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Luna sat alone in her little apartment, the dull light from a single lamp spreading long shadows across the room. Her hands trembled as she grasped the paternity test results, the paper crinkling beneath her tight grip. The words blurred before her eyes, not because she was crying, though they were close, but because she had read them so many times that they no longer felt genuine. Positive. The baby she was carrying, the one she had just recently accepted, was linked to a guy who could shatter her entire existence. She pressed her palm against her still flat stomach, feeling the weight of a future she was unprepared to face. The knock on the door startled her, and the paper slid from her grasp, fluttering to the ground. She froze, her heart racing. She wasn't expecting anyone, and the prospect of confronting another person made her chest clench. "Luna?" "It's me," Bridget said softly but insistently. Luna sighed, but the relief was temporary. Bridget was her best friend and confidant, but even she didn't know the whole truth. Not yet. Luna opened the door with a forced smile that did not reach her eyes. Bridget stepped inside, her keen eye noting the strain in Luna's posture. "You look like you've seen a ghost," Bridget observed, placing her handbag down and crossing her arms. Her tone was light, but her eyes were already searching, figuring out that something was wrong. "I'm fine," Luna said, leaning down to pick up the crumpled paternity test results before Bridget noticed. She slipped the paper into her pocket, but her hands trembled significantly. Bridget furrowed her brow and took a step closer, her voice falling to a quiet murmur. "Luna, what's happening? You've been avoiding me for days. You can't keep this bottled up." Bridget's concern was genuine, but it simply made Luna feel more constrained. She wanted to tell her everything, to unload all of her secrets and fears, but the words stayed in her throat. How could she tell to her unborn kid that his father was capable of destroying everything? That the truth may cause ripples in the lives she cared about, including Finn's? Finn. The thought of him made Luna's stomach turn. He was more than simply her father. He was the rock of their family, the guy who had nurtured her with steadfast devotion despite their turbulent background. He was going to become a grandfather, which he would accept with the same warmth and pride that he had always showed her. However, this baby and this secret have the potential to shatter that bliss. Luna could almost see his expression, his compassionate eyes crinkling with delight at the news, only to darken with treachery when he realized the truth. "I can't tell you," Luna said softly, her voice breaking. She looked aside, reluctant to face Bridget's eyes. "Please don't ask me to." Bridget did not push immediately away. She sat on the couch and patted the place near her. "Come here," she asked quietly. Luna hesitated but gave in, slipping into the cushions, her hands still clutching the hidden paper in her pocket. Bridget stretched for her hand and squeezed it gently. "Whatever it is, you don't have to face it alone. Do you know that?" Luna nodded, but the words seemed hollow. She wasn't really alone, but the weight of her secret made her feel like she was drowning in a sea no one could see. She recalled the moment she took the test, the sterile scent of the clinic, and the nurse's impassive look as she handed her the findings. Luna had a gut feeling about what the test would reveal, but seeing it in black and white confirmed it. Too real. The father was not a one-time mistake from a wild night. He was someone hazardous, someone whose presence in her life could pose problems she couldn't yet comprehend. She hadn't informed him yet, and hadn't decided whether she would. She felt nauseated at the notion of his reaction, which may be fury, denial, or worse. Then there was Finn, who deserved to know he was going to be a grandfather, but could never get the complete picture. Not if Luna intended to protect him. "Luna," Bridget remarked, her voice drawing Luna back into the present. "You are terrifying me. Is it about the baby?" Luna's head snapped up, and her eyes widened with fear. She hadn't told Bridget about the pregnancy, not openly, but Bridget was too perceptive, too sensitive to Luna's silence. "I saw the test in your bathroom last week," Bridget admitted, apologizing. "I didn't want to pry, but are you pregnant?" Luna's throat tightened up. She wanted to deny it, push Bridget away, and withdraw into her seclusion, but the reality was too great to bear alone any longer. She nodded, tears welling up despite her best efforts to hold them back. "I am," she whispered. Bridget softened and hugged Luna, saying, "But it's complicated." "That's okay. We'll work this out together. Did you tell Finn yet?" The mention of her father sparked a new wave of panic in Luna. She drew back, shaking her head violently.
"No."
"And don't tell him, Bridget. You can't tell anyone." Her tone was frantic, almost imploring. "Promise me." Bridget frowned, plainly conflicted. "Luna, this is your father. He loves you. He'll be overjoyed to have a grandchild, you know. Why doesn't he know?" "Because it's not safe," Luna exclaimed, the words flowing before she could stop them. Bridget's eyes widened, and Luna scolded herself for saying so much. She stood and paced the little living room, her fists twisting together. "I can't explain it just yet. However, revealing the father's identity to Finn or anyone else could have disastrous consequences. For me, the baby, and him." Bridget leaned forward, her voice steady but stern. "Luna, you aren't making sense. Who is the father? Is he dangerous? Are you in trouble?" The questions came too quickly, each one piercing Luna's resolve. She wanted to tell Bridget everything, the man's identity, his threats, and how his shadow loomed over her life, but fear kept her silent. If she told Bridget, she would draw her into the mess as well, and Luna couldn't take the notion of endangering her friend. "I can't," Luna said, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, Bridget. Just promise that you will not mention anything, nor to Finn, nor to anyone." Bridget examined her for a long time, her expression a mix of concern and fury. Finally, she sighed and nodded unwillingly. "Okay, I will not say anything. But Luna, you can't keep this locked up indefinitely. Secrets like this gnaw away at you, and Finn will detect that something is awry. He's not blind." Luna knew she was correct. Finn could always tell when she was in agony, even if she attempted to hide it. Growing up, it had been just the two of them versus the world. Her mother had left when Luna was a toddler, and Finn had taken on both roles, raising her with a fierce love that made her feel safe despite their modest circumstances. He'd worked long hours at the auto shop, arriving home with grease-stained hands and a tired smile, but he always made time to listen to her dreams and calm her concerns. The idea of lying to him now, of keeping this tremendous secret, seemed like a betrayal of everything he'd given her. However, telling him the truth was unimaginable. The father of her child was more than a mistake. He was a man with a reputation, power, and a track record of getting what he wanted at any cost. Luna had met him at a low point, vulnerable and looking for something to replace the void she had felt for months. He was attractive and seductive at first, but the holes in his facade appeared rapidly. It was too late for her to grasp who he really was. She was pregnant, and he had made it clear that any action against him would have consequences, not just for her, but for everyone she cared about. His deep, threatening voice echoed in her head. "If you say a word like this to anyone, I will make sure you regret it. Do you think you can hide from me? I will find you. I'll find your family." The words chilled her, forcing her to remain silent. She couldn't risk Finn being caught in the crossfire, especially since he was finally finding peace in his life after years of strife. "Luna," Bridget interrupted Luna's thoughts. "Don't tell me everything right now, but you have to tell someone eventually. Keeping this all inside, it's going to break you." Luna dried her eyes and nodded. "I understand. I just need time to find out what to do and how to keep everyone safe." She looked at Bridget, whose face was a mix of compassion and determination. "Thank you for being here. I'm not sure what I'd do without you." Bridget smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You're not getting rid of me so simply. But Luna, promise me you'll be careful. Whatever is going on, it seems bigger than you. Don't attempt to tackle it alone." Luna nodded, but the assurance seemed hollow. She was alone, whether she wanted it or not. Her secret weighed heavily on her, and no amount of companionship could lift it completely. As Bridget hugged her again, Luna's thoughts returned to Finn. She could see him now, sitting in his favorite armchair, a cup of coffee in hand, laughing at some silly story from the shop. He'd be overjoyed to learn about the baby and eager to begin his life as a grandfather. However, the truth would change everything. It would shatter his heart, and it might put him in danger. Luna tried to be normal for a few weeks, but it was a losing battle. Finn observed a change in her almost immediately. At their weekly dinners, he would watch her push food around her plate, his brow furrowing with worry. "Are you feeling okay, kiddo?" he'd inquire, his voice soft but penetrating. Luna would fake a smile, blaming work stress or a lack of sleep, but she could tell he wasn't convinced. Finn had always been her rock, but now she was pushing him away, creating a barrier between them to shield him from a truth she couldn't reveal. Bridget kept her pledge, not saying anything to Finn or anyone else, but Luna could see the strain it imposed on her. Bridget's questioning became increasingly direct with each meeting, and her concern became evident. "Have you considered what you're going to do?" she'd ask, "or is there anyone who can assist you with this guy?" Luna would deflect by changing the subject or retreating into silence, but the pressure was mounting. She couldn't keep doing this forever. As autumn leaves fell outside her window, Luna sat down with the paternity test results once more. She hadn't looked at them since that first night with Bridget, but they seemed to speak to her, reminding her of the decision she needed to make. She might keep running from the truth, concealing it from Finn and everyone else, but it would just postpone the inevitable. Or she might face it, confront the guy who had trapped her in this nightmare, and risk everything to protect her child and father. The notion of informing Finn was awful. She pictured his face, the shock and pain in his eyes as he learnt not only about the kid, but also of the danger associated with it. Finn wanted to protect her and stand up to the man who had threatened her, but he was no match for someone with that much strength. Luna couldn't let him be damaged by her faults. Her phone buzzed, interrupting her thoughts. Bridget texted, "I'm coming over. We need to talk." Luna's heart sank. She knew Bridget had good intentions, but each chat felt like a step closer to the truth coming out. She composed a fast response, begging Bridget to give her some time, but she knew it was just a delay. The walls were closing in, and Luna was running out of hiding places. Luna stood and walked to the window, looking out at the peaceful street below, while she waited for Bridget. The world outside appeared normal, unaffected by the maelstrom roaring within her. She remembered her baby, the small life growing inside her, and a strong protectiveness rushed through her. This youngster deserved a chance at a life free of its father's threats. Finn deserved to know his grandchildren, to embrace and love them in the same way he had always adored Luna. However, love was insufficient to resolve the situation. Luna realized she had a choice: remain mute and hope the danger passed, or take a position and risk everything. The weight of that decision pressed down on her more than ever as she heard Bridget knock on the door. She took a deep breath, bracing herself for what was coming. Whatever occurred, Luna was determined to protect her family, even if it meant destroying her own heart. The silence in Bridget's modest kitchen seemed like a storm about to break. Luna's hands trembled around the coffee cup that she hadn't touched. Her knuckles were pallid, and her eyes puffy from sobbing. Bridget looked across the table at her, divided between sympathy and incredulity. The envelope lay between them like a curse, its edges wrinkled from being held too tightly. Luna had brought it, begged her to open it, but then begged her not to. The truth was already inscribed within, but neither desired to see it in the light. "Please, Bridget," Luna said, her voice quivering. "You can't tell anyone. Not Finn. Especially not him." Bridget's throat contracted. She had never seen Luna like this before. Vulnerable, anxious, and desperate. Luna was usually composed and sharp, and she handled secrets with quiet precision. But now she was undone. "Luna, you asked me for help. You brought it here. I had to see that." "I know," Luna wailed, clutching her hair. "But I didn't expect it to say that. I figured it would prove me wrong. I thought that would make everything go away." Bridget gazed down at the clinic's letterhead, the clinical font that made something so human seem cruel. The results were apparent. The paternity test did not lie. The newly confirmed child was not who everyone expected. And if Finn found out, the consequences would be awful. Finn's going to lose his mind, Bridget murmured quietly, almost to herself. Luna, this isn't simply a scandal. This may ruin everything. You understand how protective he is. Luna pushed her fists on her face, feeling proud. He will detest me. He'll despise all of us. I made an error, Bridget. Only one. I didn't expect it to follow me like this. Bridget sighed and sat back. Finn had always been the type of man who saw the world in extreme terms, devotion or treachery, truth or falsehoods. He'd made a name for himself by maintaining control over his family and business in the face of global instability. To him, being a father was sacrosanct. And now, to inform him that he was going to become a grandfather, not to the child he imagined, but to another man's, the sound of Luna's phone vibrating on the table jolted Bridget out of her reverie. Luna's breath caught as the name flashed across the screen. It was Finn. Luna let it ring till it stopped. When it started again, she turned the phone over, so she couldn't see it. He knows something's wrong, she said quietly. He always does. He stated that he wanted to meet tonight because it was vital. I informed him I was not feeling well, but he did not trust me. So, what are you going to do? Bridget inquired. You can't avoid him forever. I'll tell him. Luna hesitated. I will tell him what he needs to hear. Not true. Not yet. He can't handle it. If he knew, he would ruin everything. You have no idea what he can do when he feels betrayed. Bridget looked at her uneasy. She'd heard stories about Finn's calm fury and how he made people disappear from his life, or theirs, when they crossed paths. Not violence, but something colder. Finn didn't yell. He went into exile. He erased. And Luna, despite her strength, was not prepared to be wiped. Later that night, Finn sat alone in his office, with an unfinished glass of whiskey beside him. Luna's message had been brief. I needed time. Please trust me. But Finn didn't give trust readily anymore. He'd spent years erecting barriers to keep out lies, to safeguard the family name, and to defend Luna herself when the world sought to bring her down. And now, just when she needed him the most, she's hiding something. He could feel it like a fissure in the foundation. He learned about his impending grandfatherhood from a relative, who made an offhand joke and congratulated him, leaving him astonished. Luna hadn't informed him. His daughter had not told him. He needed to find out from someone else. He had laughed it off at first, believing it was rumor, but now he was unsure. Something did not fit. He glanced at his phone, Luna's name on the screen, his hand hovering over the call button. For years, he'd shielded her, covered up her mistakes, and ensured that her life remained pristine in the eyes of her family and the media. Bridget's doorbell rang, prompting him to question her honesty. She hesitated, looked through the peephole, and froze. Finn stood outside, his posture stiff and his jaw clenched. When she opened the door, she attempted to smile.
Finn.
I did not expect. I need to see Luna, he stated firmly. She's not here. I know, he said, entering without waiting for an invitation. But I believe you know where she is. And I think you know what she's hiding. Bridget's mouth dried up. You're wrong, she stated cautiously. She is simply overwhelmed. There's been a lot, Finn said, his gaze narrowing. You've always been a terrible liar, Bridget. He looked around the kitchen, then fixed his gaze on the table. The envelope was gone, but a small crease in the tablecloth revealed that it had been there recently. What did she give to you? He inquired, his voice quiet but menacing. Nothing, Bridget replied too quickly. Finn, you're scaring me. I'm not trying to, he replied. But I need to know what's happening. I can feel the distance and the voices. Everyone treats me as if I am too frail to handle the reality. Tell me, Bridget. Bridget wanted to think that she could repair whatever was wrong. She might have done it once. But now she noticed something else in his eyes. Fear masked as control. It's not my secret to tell, she said quietly. Finn gave her a long look before nodding. Then I'll find it myself. He turned and walked away, his footsteps booming down the corridor. When Luna arrived 1 hour later, Bridget was pacing. "He was here," she exclaimed. "He knows something's wrong. I didn't tell him, but I doubt he'll stop digging." Luna's face turned pale. "It's impossible that this is happening. He will find out everything. The baby, the test. Then you need to get ahead of it," Bridget stated hurriedly. "Tell him your version before someone else does." Luna shook her head. "You do not comprehend. If he discovers who the true father is, he will destroy him.
He will ruin me.
And the baby," her voice broke. "He once stated that betrayal is the only thing he cannot forgive. He meant it. So, what are your plans? Hide it forever?"